Well, good evening, everyone. My alarm just went off, which was my reminder that it is now 7 o'clock. So I think we can go ahead and get started. So welcome back. This is our second episode in the series, our summer welcome series, setting students up for success. So today we have a couple of things for you. So our schedule, we're not going to have many slides because we do have a lot of people speaking, but just our basic schedule, we'll have opening remarks by our department head. Then we have a faculty panel with Dr. Lee, Dr. Rodriguez, and Dr. Polk. And I think Dr. Prasad, are you sticking around for that one?
I can be on if you need me to, on and off. Whatever you need me to do, I'm happy to do.
Okay. Well, love to hear your advice too. Then we have a student and alumni panel with Niha Alam and Sohila Elfar, who are both current students, and Joseph Kirby and Roshni Par, who are both recent graduates. But we'll go ahead and get started. So let me stop sharing and we'll cut over to Dr. Prasad, our department head. So welcome, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you, Dr. Porter. And good evening, everyone. I'm glad you all took the time to join and visit with us in the second of our setting you up for student success set of student success events over the summer. So I am Shalini Prasad, professor in bioengineering and the department head. I've been with the department since its inception, and we've grown from strength to strength. So we are 13 years young, as I put it. So that makes us like active teenagers, ready to try new things and grow in many, many directions. So that's who we are. So more importantly, jokes aside, right? So we are the top ranked engineering program in North Texas. And that is something that I say, not just from a numbers perspective, it's you, the students, who help us get that visibility. So there are lots of things that you can get in bioengineering. Most importantly, what I hope you will get is experiential learning. The 4 or 5 years you're going to spend with us, I hope is not just about classwork. It's about you making student connections. It's about you forming your own student networks. It's you learning how to get your first internship, a first externship, learning perhaps how to do research in a faculty lab so that they'll write you a letter. Maybe you're trying to go to med school. Maybe you're trying to go to grad school, and this is where they can all help you. It's about figuring out what it is that you want to do the next phase of your life as you learn and grow with this curriculum, which it happens within the class, as well as in faculty labs, as well as with your peer groups when you talk and you do problem solving together, and all the various projects that you will work on. I'm sure you're all going to be a little shy talking to faculty, but my general piece of advice, call them professor or doctor, not Mr. or Mrs. They've all here worked and earned their PhD, and they're here to help you learn and figure out how to be successful. So that's basically one thing. And when you do write us emails, please do write it to the point in terms of what you're wanting from us. We are very friendly and helpful, and we are here to help you succeed. So that's the idea behind why we are here and why we are in an academic institution. So when you start off, I would also suggest, spend some time understanding your degree plan, figure out what are the courses and how the course flow looks like, what it requires for you to take those courses. Dr. Ben Porter is our student success coordinator for the department. So he has a number of events and number of activities. He's one person you'll get a lot of emails from, and he'll help you connect you to resources across campus, but he's not the only person to go to. The department has numerous faculty and staff, and if you're wanting to work in faculty lab, research about us on our webpage, figure out what we're doing, write us an email. Sure, if we don't answer you the first time round, try again. And again, because start of semester is a very busy time for all faculty, and we all generally like to figure out and give people opportunities. That's exactly why we are here and why we do what we do. The other aspect that I do want to tell you, which bioengineering offers, is this student groups, and I'm sure you've met them in the previous sessions and you'll continue to meet them. Leverage what they have to offer for you. The career fairs that we have, where there are multiple opportunities to engage with local industry. We put a lot of effort to bringing together all of this towards building out what I hope will be a highly integrated and a holistic experience that you can enjoy. And as you start your current journey from being a UTD, entering to be a UTD Comet, to graduating being a bioengineering comet. I'm sure along the way, there are going to be many ups and downs. You're going to be irritated or frustrated. You can't get into certain classes, or you are like you're finding equivalencies. So one piece of advice: everything happens centrally in the Johnson School, and it's with the Office of Undergraduate Education within the school. So this is the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Education. You have advisors assigned. They are your points of contact for what to do. The department can help manage questions, but we can't enroll you into classes. We can't get you moved around. We can't approve your equivalencies. All of that we cannot individually do. However, we will help you get through that. So again, feel free to reach out to us, send us questions. If you write me a question, most likely I'm going to be directing you to somebody within the department who can better help you, and who are the ones who are going to be able to connect you with what you need. So all in all, it will be exciting time for you here at UT Dallas. Their opportunities are many, not just the beautiful building you see behind me where most of us do research. We're also going to be starting this fall, have a footprint in the medical center, so which is at UT Southwestern. So many of you wanting to do undergraduate research, there are a number of our faculty who also who will be they're doing their research work, and the opportunities for you to spend time in their labs. There is, of course, our undergraduate poster competitions allowing you to present out your research if you work in faculty labs. So there are many, many things, and I don't want to overwhelm you right now. So what I hope that you can take away from me saying all of this is, we're excited to have you be a part of our journey. You're using us to be a part of your journey, and we are here to help you succeed. So with that, Dr. Porter, back to you. Still muted, Ben. Still muted. Sorry.
See, I was just talking about how I turned my camera off so they wouldn't see me, but I also muted myself so they wouldn't hear me, and well, that worked. So, well, thank you for the welcome. If you have time to stay, that'd be fantastic. If not, we totally understand. But will move on to our faculty panel. Joining us, in addition to Dr. Prasad, we have Dr. Daniele Rodriguez, who is one of our tenure track faculty who conducts research. Tariq Ali, I saw joined us here. Sorry, Dr. Ali. He is also our, I'm going to get the title wrong, Tariq, so you have to correct me. Associate Department Head of Undergraduate Education?
Yes.
Got it. Yes, you did.
Then we have Dr. Todd Polk, who is our Director of Senior Design, or Capstone Project. So welcome, everyone. So I do have some questions. The way this will work, I'm going to ask everyone to give a brief introduction of themselves. I have some questions to get things rolling, but if any of the participants have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat as we go, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. So let's go alphabetically by last name. So Dr. Ali, would you be able to provide a brief background about yourself?
So I've been with this department for about 9 years. So my background was actually electrical engineering. My degrees were electrical engineering, and I mainly teach the electronics-oriented courses in the undergraduate curriculum. So you will have a few courses that focus on basics of electronics, programming microcontrollers. So those are the courses that I mainly teach.
Dr. Rodriguez?
Hello,
I
everyone.
can't go with my alphabet. I'm sorry, Dr. Polk.
Okay.
It's been a long day. Sorry.
Either way is fine. I would let ladies go first, but hi, hello, new comments. I'm Dr. Todd Polk. I teach senior design, as Dr. Porter said. So you won't see me for 3 more years, but when you do, we're gonna have a lot of fun together. My background is I've been here for 10 years at UTD now. I've spent about 25 years in industry before that. So I've got a really good perspective to bring to senior design and to y'all to help get you ready to be working engineers. And so we'll talk more about that here in a little bit.
All right.
My turn? All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are very excited to be here with you today. I am Danielle Rodriguez. I am an associate professor in the department. I joined UTD in the department 11 years ago, and I teach biomaterials and medical devices classes, both at the undergraduate and graduate levels. So you're going to see me or take my class later on. I am also the principal investigator at the Bond Lab, which means biomaterials for osseointegration and novel engineering. My research focus is in the area of biomaterials for osseointegrative applications, or for applications that are related to bone augmentation. For example, dental implants, hip implants, it can be total fixation implants. I mostly work with development of new coating technologies and surface modification approaches on the surface of titanium, which is one of the main materials used today to augment or replace bone. So that's the focus of my research lab. I do have a number of undergrads working in my lab from our department and other departments as well. And I also mentor master's and PhD students. And yeah, and we love working with undergrads at all levels. And I have a lot of experience advising undergrads as well. So.
Excellent, thank you. So the reason that we invited these particular faculty is because they all work extensively with their undergraduates in multiple roles, whether it be helping design the curriculum, or when they get to that senior level, helping them to get ready for jobs and get ready for that senior level class, or involving them a lot with research and being an excellent mentor, because Dr. Rodriguez has gotten several awards for it. So these are great resources. I'm going to jump straight in with a question. And whoever feels like answering, please do. What do you think is the biggest challenge for students when they first start at UTD, whether they be transfers or just first years incoming?
One of the things I've noticed is not just when they start, actually throughout the entire college life. Time management, that's something students struggle with a lot. And I would suggest new students, be careful about how you plan your days, your weeks. And it's what's different in college from high school. You have classes, and one class in the morning, one in the evening, nothing in between. How do you utilize that time properly? Some days of the week you won't have classes. So the one mistake I see some students make, they keep lingering and putting things off till the due date. Like there's an assignment, I've seen people put on a calendar like, okay, September 15th is the due date of this assignment, so that's the day I'm going to work on it. So that's not the case. You start planning ahead. So time management, it's a big deal, that's something I would say you have to be careful about.
I would just want to add to your comment, and it's also related to time management, but I have been seeing, a lot of my students, at least, they're doing too many things at the same time. They start, they register for all these classes, but they also have to work, and then they decide they must engage in a research lab. And they really struggle with time management and doing well in classes, because then assignments fall behind and they cannot complete things. So I always tell them, one thing at a time. I understand if you have to work, but let's gonna pay attention on your performance in classes, and then leave research or volunteering work for a little later, because you're not gonna be able to do everything well. And it's better to really focus on classes, and if you need to work in the beginning, and then leave the volunteering for later on. So yes, definitely time management. And that students are super excited, they think they can handle everything, but not getting engaged in so many activities that can affect your class performance in the beginning is really key.
Yeah, I would just add, as an incoming freshman, I remember way back when we still rode horses to campus, but just learning to live by yourself or learning to live on your own. Mom and dad aren't there to cook for you and do your laundry and all that kind of stuff. Some of you may be living at home, but a lot of you are moving onto campus and moving away from home for the first time. And so it's a huge adjustment. So, just take your time, get your routine set up, and learn to kind of work through the things that you have to do each day, including, classes and studying. And like Dr. Ali said, don't wait till the day of the deadline to work on something. Nothing drives us crazier than when you want an extension because you waited until the very end to work on it when you had plenty of free time. So learn to manage your free time. Like they said, time management and all is a critical thing.
So let me add, so you'll all be taking ECS 1100, which is the first course that we'll be generally taking together, which talks to you about basic engineering life skills. And Dr. Porter here is the lead instructor for that particular course. And one thing there, many of this, so please explore your discipline, right? Why are you in bioengineering, right? And if you don't get that in ECS 1100, ask the instructors to connect you with people that you can understand this. The second thing, spend some time understanding your degree plan. What does one course feed into the other? Why do you have to take them in a particular order? If you are a transfer student, this gets trickier because there are equivalencies to worry about and whether things match. And there's certain courses you have to take at the four-year institution, which is UTD. So understanding that from your advisor, but then coming to the department and talk to faculty members, so if a faculty member is responding to you by email because they get a lot of email, right? So they're not just trying to ignore you. You can reach out to Dr. Porter and he will try to connect you up. It's very important in your very first semester to understand how your degree plan works because there isn't too much flexibility, especially as Dr. Rodriguez said, if you want to do all these other volunteer research activities, and if you are a pre-med student and you have to take a different set of chemistry courses, you really have to be very efficient in how you organize that degree plan. And you are your best help, right? Like your advisors will help you, but ultimately you know yourself the best. So you need to spend some time really understanding the degree plan. Our biomedical engineering student groups, I think with the collaboration with Dr. Porter, do offer this degree plan, understanding that degree plan, right? These are the set of courses you have to take over the four-year period and pass them successfully so that you can ultimately meet Dr. Polk and do your design experience. Otherwise, you're not going to get out of it, right? So the key thing I want you to think about in your first semester. So not to scare you, but I've already given you an assignment and let's hope you succeed with it when you get done. Thank you.
Yeah, there are certain classes that if you don't take that first semester, you'll be behind for the rest of your career. So chemistry 1 is one of those, and you got to keep up with your maths, otherwise you'll fall behind. We're not going to go into a lot of detail about the curriculum here. We just don't have enough time for it, but you should definitely take an attempt on your own to go through it. And you'll see how one class leads to the other and how they build on each other. That does lead into my next question. How can students make the most of their curriculum to prepare themselves for Dr. Polk's class or for post-graduation?
I can start. So there are students who are trying to get good grades and do well, and there are students who just want to get by, just pass. So I'm assuming all of you are in the first category, that you are trying to do good. But one thing I would say, don't chase grades. Don't be a grade chaser that I just want good grades. Try to learn in every course. Try to get something out of the course. And as Dr. Prasad mentioned, if you talk to your peers, if you talk to the professors, and another important thing is talk to the students that are a year or two ahead of you, your seniors. Like when you're a freshman, try to make some acquaintances with the sophomores and juniors. So they're the people who have gone through this experience. So you talk to us, we will tell you from the professor's perspective. Yeah, this is like this. I often tell students, oh, my course is very easy, but then they say, oh, we heard otherwise from other students. Anyway, so talk to a lot of people, your peers. and the people who have taken these courses before, it will give you an idea about, how the courses, one course leads up to another one. And as I said before, from each course, try to learn something. Focus on learning, like what am I learning from this course? And the grades will follow automatically. You don't have to chase grades. You chase the learning, the grades will follow.
Agree. And another just suggestion to go along with your comment is really like putting the time to work on the assignments outside class. I feel like, we don't give proper attention. You are just there in the class for an hour, 15 minutes, but really the work you put on after you leave the classroom is so important. I often see, at least in my class, the students who do well are the ones who, sit down with their peers or alone, and they really spend time working on the assignments. And, some people even complain, well, it took me 7 hours to complete this assignment, and I said, that's good. I mean that you really, put the work, and now you're ready to take the exam. You don't even need to, worry about studying later on. It just, you're doing it every week by really completing this assignment and putting an effort in it, right? Really going through, maybe visiting office hours. We are there to help you, talking to the TAs, talking to the professors. I feel like the students are not utilizing our office hours time as well. We are there for you, and it's a great opportunity to connect with the professor. And the professor, you see that you're putting an effort. I really like when the students come visit me to working on assignment, right? We spend an hour going over questions and, redoing the questions they couldn't do. And that's really the time I get to learn their names, what their plans are, what they want to explore in bioengineering. So it's very valuable time. Even if you approach this professor later on to, get a recommendation or something, that's the moment that, that's the time to really use the professor's time outside class to get to know us better and to work with us. So we can get to know you all better as well.
Yeah, that's very true. And I would say, I'm going to tell you a little story, and I'm going to leap you ahead 4 years. 4 years from now, you're going to be graduating, right? And you're going to be wanting to find a job or get into graduate school. Recommendations are important, but whatever you do, please do not ask for a recommendation and send us the link to give you a recommendation. I've got one in my email, in my inbox right now, and I just ignore it because the student hasn't contacted me and said, hey, will you please write me a recommendation? So if you're not going to ask, most of us are not going to do it. So just remember that for when you get going forward here in a few years. You're probably going to want to, you probably are thinking now, even as incoming freshmen, you're probably already wondering, what am I going to do as a biomedical engineer when I finish? So that is what the next 3 years are going to prepare you for. And notice I said 3, not 4. You're going to get the background and the technical skills that you need. So when you show up in senior design, we're going to turn you into an engineer in that last year so that you're ready to go out and take on the job market and tackle a real job. So that's the focus when we get you to year 4. The first 3 years are gaining all the skills you need. And we'll talk more on some of the other questions about some of the other things you should be looking at. But as far as looking at your curriculum, these first 3 years are really important for you to gain the basic skills that you need to be an engineer. And then we're going to give you a chance to practice all those in the 4th year to get you ready and to put you ahead of the competition at other schools that don't do this.
Dr. Prasad, did you want to add?
Pearls of wisdom, huh? Okay, all right. So why not? Since you asked me, so let's get back to year 1 after Dr. Polk has taken you on this imagining exercise for year 4. So let's come back to year 1. In year 1, in most of your freshman classes, you will have undergraduate TAs. This also kind of answers the question a student has asked in terms of are there job opportunities with the department? Well, you need to meet, I believe it's junior standing, but nonetheless, you can apply for an undergraduate TA position. Of course, your grades must be excellent in those courses, and you get to basically assist the instructor in helping the students essentially solve the problems in class. This is in your computation course, which is the BMEN 1300. We have, of course, the BMEN 1208 and the BMEN 1100. All of them have undergraduate TAs. They are your peers. As Dr. Ali said, they're a couple of years ahead of you. So this is the time you make acquaintance, understand from them how their experiences, but also they're going to help you look at those into those problems, from the perspective of being a student, and not your graduate TA who's here studying for, a master's or a PhD degree, and they look at things slightly differently. But leverage this undergraduate TA support. It's a big investment the department is making, and this is what you should use, because these are the peers, and who knows, one of them may be working in some of your faculty members' labs, and they can make you that introduction, and maybe you'll go and meet a professor, right? So, and for many of you, I encourage, right? Think of it like a scavenger hunt. Try to meet all the faculty in the department in your first semester. Try to know who they are, because these are the people you're going to be learning from in the 4 years you're here. Back to you, Ben.
Like I should make a game out of that. I like that. I'm going to take the advantage of being the moderator for a second to echo a few things and emphasize a few others. So in addressing Rithvik's question, so the question, if you can't see it, was, is it better to get a job the first year or the second year, or are there positions in the bioengineering department that you can apply for? So echoing what Dr. Rodriguez said, definitely don't want to overwhelm yourself in that first semester, at least not the first semester, possibly the second semester, because this is very different from your high school experience, very different from community college experience when you get into UTD. It can be very intense. The classes can be a lot harder or structured very differently. So give yourself time to adjust is what I usually recommend to students. If you have to work, then that's life. But try to make it so you don't have too many other commitments going on at the same time. Are there jobs within bioengineering? Yes. So as Dr. Prasad said, you can be a TA. Occasionally there are student worker positions, and there are student worker positions in several places around campus. And occasionally you'll find a position in the lab that does get paid. But for the most part, the lab positions are volunteer. I do want to make one thing explicit that I think everybody's kind of gotten around, but we haven't quite said. At this point in your lives, you are directly responsible for your educations. So in high school and lower, there's a lot of hand-holding and kind of walking you through it. At this point, you are now taking responsibility for your education. We are here to provide the information, but it is your job to make sure that you can learn it. So if you're not getting what you need from us, then you need to either come to us and talk with us and we can get us to help you better. Go seek outside help, either through tutoring or other sources around campus, or figure it out. So there are multiple ways that you can make sure that you're getting the content and getting what you need, but you are responsible for education. This is a full-time job that you are now doing with your education. Okay, I won't keep going on that because I can go on that for a very long time. I do want to back up and ask Dr. Ali. So you brought up a point about finding other students who have been around and asking them for advice. Where do you find other students who are maybe a couple years in front of you?
If you're living on campus, I think whether it's a dorm or an apartment, you can ask around. And another great way is to engage in the student organizations. So there's BMES, that's specific to Biomedical Engineering Society. And there are a lot of different student organizations, student chapters. So I believe BMES is the main one for specific to biomedical engineering, right? And Ben, if you can think of any others that have a lot of BMEN students, feel free to share. So look for these student organizations. That's usually led by juniors or seniors. So they are in charge of those, and they always welcome new members. So that's a good way to start. And once you get to know a few people, that will lead to other people. And if you're into sports, of course, and other stuff, you can find more people. But I think BMES would be a good starting point. And BMES is a Biomedical Engineering Society, the student chapter, and it has a good presence in our department.
And one more opportunity, and Dr. Rodriguez may have been about to add this one, is working in labs, because it's a good mix of all sorts of different students there, all different levels. So once you do get used to the curriculum here, when you jump into the labs, that's where you get to meet students from all levels, graduate students and doctoral students. So you get a lot of different advice there. So Emmanuel asks, how do you, I'm sorry, Dr. Rodriguez, go ahead.
One thing, Dr. Porter, related to what you mentioned, we also have, I don't know if it's once a year or twice a year, we have these events when our grad students and undergrads doing research, they present posters in the department, and I find that a great opportunity for new undergraduate students to come appreciate their work, but also make connections and learn what the faculty is doing even before considering asking for an appointment. So that's a very good first opportunity to see what the department is doing in terms of research, and they usually send out emails about that, letting everyone know when these events will happen. So I think that is a good opportunity as well for our new students.
That's a great point. So I think the next poster competition, I believe, is going to be in November. But we also have other events through the department that are great for you to come network and meet other students. So it does take you getting outside of your shell maybe a little bit and introducing yourself. But everybody's there to talk and to meet each other. So that's a good point. Okay, so Emmanuel asked, how do you join a student organization? That's a pretty general question, or a pretty general answer, so I can take that one pretty quick. Usually you just look them up and you contact them. And it's as easy as that. For Biomedical Engineering Society, go to a meeting and you can just join. There's no special initiation or anything like that. Your student fees usually cover most everything that you would need with student organizations. We do have over, I think it's 400 student organizations on campus, including a sword fighting one, which I think is really cool. It's not fencing, it is actual sword fighting. So this is like hacking, it's neat to me. Anyways, you can find those student organizations just on the UTD website. If you type in student organizations, they pop up. And they usually have their own websites, or they have links to Facebook or whatever the current social media is that everybody's on. So you can find a lot of information that way. We will also probably have the Biomedical Engineering Society come out to each of the 1100 classes and talk about their first meeting. So that's one you can look forward to. All right, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit on my list of questions to get to some of the better ones, I think. So how can students best interact with faculty so that they can lead up to being able to ask for good recommendations? How do they set themselves apart so they're just not another name in the grade book?
I think just making yourselves known, that's it. I mean, you don't have to make an effort to, stand out or anything. Just go to the office hours in a class, ask questions. That's it. I mean, and when I was a student, I always thought the professors don't know us. They don't know any of us. They don't know anything. But it's not true. We actually know a lot about you guys. We know your names by the end of the semester. I think I have every student's names memorized, and so we know you guys and remember you guys a lot better than you think. So on top of that, if you just ask questions, go to the office hours for whether it's questions about the course or just a general discussion about what you want to do, that should help them remember you.
Anybody want to add?
So if the question is how do they remember? So one thing, right? Many of our research faculty who have research labs probably are not going to teach you in your freshman year. There are opportunities for student success events where Dr. Porter brings in many of these faculty to talk about their research experiences. Attend those events. And you generally organize such that they don't conflict with your classes. Sometimes we can't get it completely non-conflicting, but attend them and look at the website to really read about their research, right? And then once you do that, all faculty, even though they may not be teaching your courses that year, have office hours because they're teaching something. Look up their office hours. That's published through coursebook to what they're teaching, right? And then go to their office hours to talk not about that class they're teaching, but about this interest that you have. Because if your email gets unanswered, because that's the general common complaint from the students, and that's true. I do understand as a faculty member, we receive lots of emails. And so if it's from somebody they've never seen or heard of before, the likelihood of them answering that is relatively lower, right? But having said that, if you meet them and make that connection and they have a face to that name, then they're most likely going to connect you most likely with the senior graduate student in their lab, or a postdoc, which is a research scientist in their laboratory, to see if there are ways in which you could engage with research in their labs. The instructors that you have in your first year, while they might not have their own research labs, know all the faculty in the department. So you can go into them and say, hey, I am interested in doing, I really enjoyed biomaterials. So who should I go and talk to? And they will help you make that connection. And then you can follow up. But one thing, be very professional, always be timely in your responses, and do a follow up. Because sometimes the faculty member's lab may be full. Dr. Rodriguez is very popular. She's got lots of students, so she might not have space to have you that semester. But that doesn't mean she's never going to have you. So she will probably look at a future opportunity, right? So, and that matters, right? How you leave it off. And the second thing, if you have gotten into a lab and you've bitten up too much that you can chew, right? Like you have too many things happening, be very respectful of both your time and time. Let them know perhaps you want to take a break from the lab that year or that semester, and you can come back at a later date. That is a very professional thing to do. Rather than just not showing up or coming 3 weeks later, it's just going to irritate everybody. And we're not going to give you that nice letter that you want. And don't go to somebody's lab just for a semester to check off a box, because that's also not going to help. So if you want to invest your time, invest it wisely. It's not necessary to do 10 different things. Do one thing and one thing well. You can get a bunch of letters from them. For example, going back to Dr. Rodriguez, because she's got lots of undergrads, she can write you a letter. Her senior student may be able to write you a letter if you've worked with that student for a long time. Maybe her postdoc did that, or her collaborator with whom you might have collected data. All of these people. So 3 letters from just spending maybe 2 years in her lab, which might also give you a co-authorship on a publication that might come out of her lab, right? So this is the investment you need to make. And of course, that goes to the idea that you really, really love biomaterials. You might do biomaterials for a semester and say, okay, this is not the thing. I want to go and do imaging. And that's perfectly fine, because that's what we do, right? Like this is the time to explore. Then go and find that faculty, figure that out and spend time. But just try not to work in 2 labs the same semester. One that speaks very poorly of you. And faculty members just don't like it because you're not committing yourself to this, right? So you have to commit yourself to an experience and go with that. So that's my words of wisdom on this. Back to you.
Yeah. Dr. Rodriguez, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat what Shalini said. I agree completely. I think some students, they don't understand that they burn bridges from the beginning because of the lack of communication. And it's totally okay to join a lab, explore a little bit, and realize this is not the area that I want. You learn something that's already available experience. But, don't disappear. Just have a sit down with your advisor, your mentor, or the student who is working with you, and, open up and tell them, I've had a great opportunity here, but I'm just not into this area. I would like to explore imaging. I would like to explore, something more computational based. It is totally okay having that open line of communication, and that's what we expect. We do not like students disappearing, not communicating, and not being open, or just taking on too many tasks that they cannot handle. So I find that very important. I do have some students who start with me from the beginning, from the first semester, and they graduate in my lab. So they spend 4 full years conducting research, and they have the chance to really start a project and go through all the phases and finish. And, and the outcome of that, they become great writers. They communicate very well because they attended conferences, they presented their research, they learned how to put a poster together, PowerPoint presentation, discuss research data, and it's so valuable. Even if you don't pursue that area later on, all these skills are transferable. To learn how to write, how to communicate, to work in a team, if you can learn that very well in 4 years, I mean, you set for success in any areas that you decide to pursue later on, and preparing you for grad school or health school later on. So I had students staying with me for 4 years, and they went to medical school, dental school. They explored very different areas. They went to industry. They became postdocs in other labs. So very different paths, but they all really appreciate that background, the learning, the how to communicate, how to work in a group. This is very valuable, and you definitely learn that through research.
Excellent. Dr. Polk, anything you wanted to add?
Well, I don't have a lab since I teach senior design. That is my lab. But I think just what everybody has told you guys, first off, go explore, go visit and sit down and talk to faculty, them, us, all of us, right? I mean, I don't have a lab you can come work in, but I can certainly talk to you about what it's like to be out in the real world and what it's like to be a real engineer. So if you've got questions along that line, feel free to reach out to me.
Now, on the flip side, so we have been talking about how to make yourself memorable in a good way. There are definitely ways that you can make yourself memorable in a bad way. What are some of the ways that students usually just kind of get themselves into trouble, don't even realize necessarily that they're doing it, but they are kind of burning that bridge for that future recommendation?
So it's not just for recommendation, but generally things that make a bad impression is if someone repeatedly keeps making up excuses for missed work or asking for deadlines. I mean, we see through that. Second thing, not following up on a promise, like you say, okay, I'm gonna come talk to you next week in office hours, and then you never show up. So this kind of small things, of course, it makes a bad impression. And of course, generally, if you do well in a course, it makes a good impression. If you barely pass a course, of course, professor may still like you as a person, but it doesn't. It's not. They're not gonna be able to write the best letter of recommendation if you don't perform well. But yeah, small manners, and also writing nice, polite emails. Sometimes I see emails without any salutation, nothing, just hey, something. So small things like this, they can make a bad impression.
Punctuation matters for you all. Just so you know, an email, punctuation matters still. Okay, what else?
So the stuff I get most often are complaints from you all, right? You can't get into this class, you can't get into the other class, or you have an issue with your grade. These are the usual things. First, grade-related complaints, right? First, go to the instructor. That's where everything starts. You have to try to resolve it with the instructor. And if you haven't amicably resolved it, do not accuse the instructor in an email. It doesn't help you at all, because I can understand you're frustrated, but explain the situation factually, and we are still going to have to go and get all the data for us to do an academic grievance petition to assess it, right? So do not get very subjective, and do not get write all these accusatory things in an email. I understand that's maybe how you feel, but that's not going to help with your case or your petition. Definitely do not get your parents to write us emails to get you into classes or whatever else, or if you're not getting a response from an advisor. This is something Dr. Porter told you, and I'll tell again, you are responsible for your education. This is adulting 101. So you're no longer your parents are going to talk and do all of these things. So you are responsible. FERPA also says we can't talk to your parents unless you've given FERPA permission, allowing them to be a part of the conversation. Even then, which is very, very rare, we still need you in the room. So you are the one dictating the outcome, right? So of where you're going with everything. Do not send emails, the same email, to the faculty member, to the department head, to the dean, to everybody else on campus, to the president, to the vice president, to everybody. That's not going to get you anything. All you're going to get is people just shutting it down, right? So that's not going to help you. Follow the chain of command. That's why we have it. So it starts with the instructor. After that, it goes to Dr. Ali, who is our associate department head. And if he can't resolve it, then it comes to me. And if I can't resolve it, it goes to the associate dean of undergraduate studies for the Johnson School. This is the chain of command. You have to follow it. And if you copy all of us and write the same email again, nobody's going to respond to you because we don't know what this is for. You have to address right. And please do not write when you write emails by our first name. We are professor or doctor. And please, most especially when you talk to female faculty, do not call them Mrs. They are your professor. So they all have a PhD. It's different from high school. And so I just want to make it clear. I know high school, you've got great teachers whom you call Miss or Mrs. But these are PhD faculty. Please refer to them as doctor or professor. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. And this matters throughout your university education. Back to you, Dr. Porter.
Yeah, hopefully you won't actually have to have a grievance or any issues that you follow up. But I do want to say one of the things that you need to figure out on your own is how to find that chain of command. It's out there. Or how to follow up with a grievance or with a professor. If you have a question about the grade or anything like that, there is a syllabus, and the syllabus tells you how to do everything for the class typically. So if you have a question about a grade, how should you follow up? How soon should you follow up? What are the grading standards? If I'm absent, what am I supposed to do? That's all typically already out there. I will say one of my biggest pet peeves is when students ask me something that they could have found on their own easily, because now you're taking my time, usually 10 minutes, to respond to an email that I have to go find this simple answer for you, or to compose an email that doesn't rage against you because you couldn't find it on your own, and it's a simple thing. So it goes back to taking ownership of your education and your life. Try to find the questions on your own first. Sorry, that's my soapbox. I'll get off of it.
So I'll add one thing. So if you are upset about something and you're writing an email, the best thing you could do is write it and don't hit send, leave it alone, go away for 10, 15 minutes, come back and look at it again. And you'll probably realize, I don't want to sound like that in this email. So we get mad too. Like Dr. Porter just said, we get ridiculous requests from you guys for something that's in the syllabus, right? And it's very hard not to just reply to you with RFS, read the fine syllabus, right? So we have to walk away and come back before we reply to you and tell you that you really should go read the syllabus again. So do the same and keep yourself out of trouble.
One more thing I want to add about grades. So at the end of the semester, the grades are calculated based on a lot of things, like a lot of assignments, homeworks, exams, projects. So after each item is graded, take a look at that. Sometimes I see a student and is coming and talking to us about something that has been graded 2 months ago. So once an assignment is graded, there's you can turn on a notification in e-learning, or you'll just see it. Just look at the comments, and if there's an issue, no matter how small the weight of that assignment is, contact the TA or the instructor. Every time an exam is handed back to you, just take a look at it. If you're not in class on that day for any reason, just in the next available slot, just look it up and resolve any issues. That way, all these small elements, you won't have any surprises by the end of the semester. Then at the end of the semester, the only thing that will be left is the final exam. And so that's just one item. So you will have resolved every issue throughout the semester. So many times I see students don't even log into e-learning to see the comments, like where they lost points. And much later, they come with questions about those.
Okay, so we are just about out of time for the faculty panel. So I do want to ask any last minute words of wisdom or final thoughts that you would like to give our incoming students?
All I'll say is enjoy your experience. It is you've made a great investment coming to bioengineering at UT Dallas. You'll meet many of us. I think it is well worth this experience. You'll come out being very enriched. And as Dr. Porter said, as well as Dr. Polk, after you do senior design, you're going to get a bunch of opportunities, and we really genuinely help with that piece of it. But again, remember, you are responsible for your education. So what kind of an experience you have, it's all on you. So you get to be the master and tailor it. I'm sure when you were going through grade school, you would have always said, I wish I was the boss of this. Yes, you get to be the boss of this. So do your best. We are all here to help. So welcome Bioengineering Comets. That's all I got to say.
I'll add a couple of quick things just from your other questions down here that we didn't get to. Number one is, I'll tell you the same thing I've told every incoming freshman class when Dr. Porter has this. Go get your hands on everything you can, every piece of technology, microcontrollers, CAD tools. Go visit labs, research labs, figure out what they're doing, see if you're interested, go talk to the professors, get your hands on everything and get exposed to as much as you can. The more knowledge you have, the better off you're going to look when somebody's interviewing you for a job. And if you can say, oh yeah, I've programmed, in Python, and I've used this microcontroller, and I've done that, and they're going to perk up because they're excited that they don't have to teach you from scratch. And the other thing, one of your questions asked about hidden gems. So if y'all are living on campus in the dorms, right across the north side of the street there from you is a building called SPN, Synergy Park North, and that's where the UT Design Studio is. That's where the seniors do their capstone projects, but it's also where the makerspace is. We also host what we call Comets Create, which is kind of a 24-hour engineering hackathon, and we're going to be doing one in September. And as freshmen, you're more than welcome to sign up and participate in that and kind of start getting your hands on tools and things and learning how to do a project with a group of people, in this case, in a very accelerated time span of about 26 hours. So get your sleep beforehand because you won't get much sleep that night. But it's a lot of fun for y'all to come and do that. And we come up with some pretty interesting things for y'all to do. So we'll look forward to seeing a lot of you over there I believe it's in mid-September, if I remember right. You should get emails pretty soon about it, though.
Just want to say, enjoy the journey. It's fun and study hard. Study hard. Get to know your professors. We are here for you guys. So all the best.
I want to add something. Over the next 4 years, you'll probably take 40, 50 courses, different courses. There will be courses that you don't find as interesting as some others, right? You won't find every course equally interesting. You won't find sometimes the professor's teaching style, as effective as, others. But you will probably never find a professor who will say no to you if you ask for help. Okay, so if you're struggling with the course or you're not really finding it very engaging, talk to the professor, talk to the TA, and those are the kind of courses where you need to collaborate with others, your peers. Talk to other peers, like what they're doing, study together. If you don't find something interesting, but you study together with 3 other students, maybe you'll see something that they're seeing in the course that you missed, and it can help you. So that's where collaboration is very needed. And of course, talk to TAs, talk to professors. So don't get demoralized by the hopefully very few courses that you don't find really interesting. Don't let that demoralize you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that reminded me of something from what Dr. Ali said about working with others. There's a very common principle in sales, and I used to do sales too. I've done a little bit of everything in my career that says never fail alone. So if you're struggling in a class, go get some tutoring, talk to your friends in the class, study together like Dr. Ali said, but don't fail by yourself. Go get other people to help you so you can be successful.
Absolutely. Excellent. So thank you all very much for joining us. For our faculty, everybody else stick around. We're not done yet. But thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Ali, Dr. Polk, Dr. Prasad for joining us. Great advice. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for organizing. Good luck, everybody.
Everyone.
Good luck, and feel free to come talk to us.
Yeah. See ya.
We don't bite, we promise.
Bye.
All right, so next up we have our student and alumni panel, and I believe I saw everybody already here. So if we could go ahead and turn on your cameras, we have Nihal Alam, Joseph Kirby, Roshni Parikh, and Sahila Elfar. Yes, excellent. All right. So if you could briefly go around and just kind of introduce yourselves, just a quick 2 to 3 minute, just who you are, where you are in your life, and do a better introduction than I did. We'll get started. We can also go alphabetical here, and I'm sure I can figure out my alphabet this time. So Neha, I think you're first then.
Come on, Dr. Porter. Okay, anyway. Hi, everybody. My name is Neha Alam. I actually started out at UNT because I'm from Denton. And so there I did a research lab in biology. It was working on plants. And then through doing that, I went to biomedical engineering. And then I transferred to a bunch of different community colleges and then came to UTD as a transfer student. And then since coming to UTD, I've done an internship, well, a co-op, a full-time co-op at Abbott Laboratories. And now I am doing a research position with Dr. Pancrazio. We're working on brain implants in rats and trying to increase the longevity of them. But with Dr. Porter, we go way back a year ago. I was also the industry chair for BMES. You guys were talking about it before, right? And we were planning all these events and that kind of thing, planning the career fair. And so it was a good opportunity to get pretty close with Dr. Porter and talk to a bunch of industry professionals. And if you want to go to this year's career fair, I think y'all are having another one in the fall. Go do that. It's a very good opportunity. All right, that's it for me.
Well, yeah, something to look forward to in September. Yes, thank you. Okay, so Hilla, I think you would be next if I can. Yeah, Elfire. Yes, okay.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Suhaila. I'm a senior majoring in biomedical engineering. Currently in the summer, I'm doing my senior design class, and I'm doing also something called the Bioengineering Stars. It's a program where we are exposed to different research, and we have to present at the end of the semester. So what I'm currently working on is a project related to, it's in the biomechanics lab. It's related to gait movement. And so basically my project works with analyzing the differences between how males versus females walk with different emotions of, happiness, excitement. So we try to induce these emotions, and then we see we study how they move differently. Also, that's what I'm currently working on right now. And I also like to do a lot of things unrelated to schoolwork. I was the president of the fashion club for a year last year. So I was pretty interested in that as well. And yeah, I'm just waiting to graduate in December and hopefully maybe pursue a PhD in the future. So yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. And Joseph?
Hey, I'm Joseph. So I'm currently Teams calling from Ohio. So I think I might be the farthest away, who knows? But I just graduated in May in biomedical engineering, of course. And I'm now attending medical school in Ohio. So I'm an M1, it's my first year. It's very exciting. During college, I also was part of the cross country and track teams at UT Dallas, the intercollegiate NCAA teams. But otherwise, I guess I worked as a scribe a bit. So if you have any questions about medicine or applying or anything like that, then definitely let me know. So yeah.
Awesome. And then Roshni.
Hello, everyone. Saving the best for last.
Love the shirt. Love the shirt.
Thank you. Thank you. Gotta represent. Hello, everyone. I'm also a recent graduate alumni I graduated in fall 2023. All the speakers are my former classmates. So hi again. Hi, guys. So during my 4 years, I was a peer advisor. I worked in the research lab. I was in a bunch of clubs. Currently, I work in a clinic, and I have future endeavors of going into grad school. Yeah.
So we're going to do this similar structure the way we do with the faculty. I do have a list of questions, but if anybody has any at any point, feel free to type it in the chat, and we'll make sure we get to it. So I'm gonna just jump in, going straight for the one that I sent you. That was gonna be the first one. Is there anything that you would want students to know that will make their lives easier for their first year at UTD?
I have one. Um, as soon as you got out of high school, you are not the same person at all. I do know, like, whenever you're in high school, you take all these extracurricular activities, you're in school for 7 hours straight, you go right in the morning, and then you come back at 5 o'clock, and that was your routine for years. But now that you're in high school, please don't put the same expectations on yourself. You are a completely different person. You are not gonna, like, whenever you go to your 8 a.m. class, of course, you might be okay with it for the first couple of weeks, but then you're going to get burnt out really fast, especially if you take the same course load that you did in high school with the 7 hours and that kind of thing. So please don't overload yourself. Try to space it out a little bit more and calm down. It's okay. You can take your time and kind of enjoy your first semester, first year. But yeah, don't try to do the same thing you did in high school. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, definitely picking off of what Neha said. Your experiences that you'll have, the experiences you'll have in college are definitely going to be a sort of 180 from what you'll experience in high school. You'll experience not having the same people, or majority of the time the same people in your class. You'll be moving around everywhere. Each course is different, like course load in terms of like how difficult it could be. You'll definitely have to use your skills that you learned in high school in terms of like organizing skills, and you'll have to learn how to perfect them and improve them throughout your years in college. Definitely, you'll learn a lot of skills that will help you in the real world after college.
I think my advice would be to know your resources. There's a lot of resources at UTD. Know what course book is, know what, a lot of things that I went in, I didn't know that this existed in my senior year. This could have saved my life. Talk to a lot of people. If you have any questions, ask. Go to office hours. Engage with as many people as you can. Don't be by yourself all the time. Step out of the bubble. Again, like Roshni and Neha said, you are gonna meet a lot of people all the time. You're not gonna always end up in the same classes with your friends. So learn to be comfortable talking to other people.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everything that they all said. I would say like a big thing I wish I had done is just like sit down and like set goals, because like I had goals in mind, but I didn't really ever kind of think of like, okay, what do I really want and how do I get there in the next 4 years? And that's like really helpful as you're a freshman, and just realize like it's going to be an adjustment and that's okay. Like everyone's adjusting, like Mama Bear's not making you dinner every night now, so like you got to make that yourself sometimes, and like that's fine. And but like definitely try and like set up good habits of like turning stuff in on time, doing assignments ahead of time, things like that. Freshman year is like pretty easy, I would say. Like generally the classes aren't meant to kill you. At least maybe I just took easy ones, but like when you start, just still try to be good about setting up habits, because when it becomes harder, the worst thing that'll happen is you'll get behind. And it's like you'll get through it if you do, but like I had a couple semesters where I did too much and got behind, and it was like not fun. So I would definitely avoid that. Be like Roshni and Sohila. Like I'm sorry, I don't know if I've met you before, Neha, but I know both of them were like always on top of it from what I remember. Roshni always sat in the front too, so like definitely do that. But yeah.
Definitely know what works for you. You'll learn in college that different, or at least maybe different techniques will work for different courses. Like somehow doing the index cards will help in one class, but for index cards, another class won't work, or it might work. Know what works for you, and you'll figure that out during your process and stuff like that. If one thing I wish someone had told me is that it's okay if you don't know at start. Everyone doesn't know at the start. don't compare yourself. You got this, seriously. Everyone else is also trying to figure out how what they're going to do, how they're going to do everything. And just because you think that one person seems like they have everything put together and everything, maybe not completely. Instead of comparing yourself with them, definitely try to see what they do and seeing if it works for yourself. And don't get discouraged, because college is hard. I'm not gonna lie, college is it's a roller coaster, but you got this, seriously. If I can do it, I definitely know you guys can do it.
But our classes are not actually designed to kill you, just for the record there. And to echo, I think what Sahila said, sorry, there are tons of resources available on campus, and you've already paid for them. Your tuition and your fees have already paid for almost everything that you could possibly need as far as the services goes. So any help that you need, it's there. And one of the things that I see as a faculty frequently that students don't like to do is if they need exceptions, I don't remember the correct word for it, but if you need more time on the test, or if you need assistance with anything, or note takers, there is nothing wrong with letting the faculty know that. You need to go through the proper steps, but we would much prefer that you let us know early so we can work with those accommodations. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what they're there for. All right, so we have a question from Emma. Do you have any tips on how to prevent burnout without falling behind on coursework and studying? Great question.
Okay. I definitely want to jump in on this one because I had a lot of burnout. So I had a semester where I took 19 hours and I worked, and that was a lot. And I was on the cross country team. And then over the winter break, I studied for the MCAT, and I took the MCAT. And then that next semester I burned out. And I was in your lab that semester, by the way, Dr. Porter, with the human physiology lab, beside the point. But I would say a huge thing is just work-life balance. So like staying on top of things, like working efficiently, and like set a timer for yourself. Like you may be like, oh, I want to do amazing on this test, but like study like 8 hours a day, or some people can do 10, or like a day where you do 10, a day where you do 4, and like have time in the day where you were just going to not think about school, and like you're just going to relax, because that's okay. Like the rest of your life starts now, essentially. Like after you get out of college, you're going to be doing a job, and it's going to be the same thing. You're going to come home from work, and you're not going to just be thinking of work at home. So, you can be really flexible in college, and you can the hard thing is like you can choose to not study if you want to, or you can the cool part of it is like if you like having your mornings off and that's better for you, you can do that, like having your evenings off. But work-life balance is just what I would say, like very much so. So yeah.
Joseph said, I would say everyone has their peak time of when is the best time for me to study, whether it be like in the morning or in the afternoon. Identify when that is in the first few weeks or in the first week. See what is the best time where you just sit down and you can focus. And also habits, you have to be like, there's this book called Atomic Habits. It's very famous. I'm pretty sure everyone knows it. But the summary of it is basically consistency, discipline over motivation. You know what I mean? You're not going to be motivated to study all the time, but if you have the discipline to do it, you're going to do it. It's consistency.
First of all, kudos to Joseph. Seriously, the fact that you survived through it, amazing. But yeah, picking off of what Sola and Joseph said, definitely for me, what helped was doing little bits of stuff every day, such as, let's say in your first year, you'll probably take a math course. And in that class, you'll have to do a lot of homeworks, your graded homeworks, your digital homeworks. It's a lot of stuff, and it's due every single week. So that's actually one thing that is different than high school. You'll have weekly homework basically, and no one's going to tell you, oh, it's due on this date. It's a discipline you'll have to put on yourself. And so what I did was and again, procrastinating, don't do procrastination. No, try not to procrastinate, seriously. What I would do is do maybe 4 or 5 questions every single day, so that in the end, on the last day, maybe when the homework is due, I don't have the majority of the homework that I have to do to submit. I've either completed it, or I just have 1 or 2 questions left. So definitely doing a little bit of every day, 15 minutes of studying for anatomy every single day. having goals of doing, okay, you want to memorize the parts of the brain on one day and then parts of the muscles in the leg on another day. That's something, set mini goals, do a little bit every day for each class. And that in the long run, that'll help a lot for memorization. And as well as approaching your test day, let's say, you don't have to study everything all at once a couple days before or hours before the exam. So definitely a little bits of every day. For burnouts and everything like that, I definitely had my fair share of burnouts as well, unfortunately. And what helped me was to do things that I really liked. I really like doing art or arts and crafts stuff. And so whenever I feel a little bit overwhelmed or anything like that, I would try to calm down a little bit, go to a place that I feel safe in or like comfortable in, and just do little sketches and stuff like that.
Piggybacking on what everyone has been saying, I do agree with the whole spacing everything out instead of doing everything at once. I feel like procrastination does help to accelerate burnout to a certain degree, and so definitely spacing everything out is really good. I will also say learn how to prioritize. That's very important when it comes to burnout. Like, you don't have to you can decide like, okay, I'm going to finish this assignment today, because it's coming closer, or it's far, like it's due in 2 days while the other thing is due in 3 days, right? So you can, if you learn how to prioritize, you can kind of arrange things better so that you can give yourself time to take a break, right? That's another thing, is planning is a very big thing. I guess this is also with the spacing out and prioritizing, is try to plan out things kind of meticulously. Like, one thing that helped me just throughout the semester was I planned so much that I planned naps, right? Just on campus, right? Like, I'd be like, okay, I had this class at 8 a.m., so I'm tired. I'm not gonna be able to uh pay attention the next class. Let me plan out like 20 minutes to just take a nap in my car or whatever, like something like that. Like, give yourself some, like, that should be a good priority for you too. So you can prioritize like, okay, I could do this assignment, or this I'm going to be going over a review in this class, so I really need to be awake and alert in this class, so I'm going to prioritize that nap or something like that. So don't think like, okay, my self-help is less of a priority than my work. Definitely, along with that work-life balance that Joseph was saying, keep that balance and don't be afraid to prioritize your self-help.
Yeah, if you don't prioritize yourself, you will not be able to do all the things that you need to do. So make sure you take care of yourself. That's definitely one thing you'll learn in college, is that at some point you will have to prioritize yourself. Learning how to prioritize, learning how to organize your time are definitely big skills you'll learn in college and will actually help you after college in the future as well. So, yeah.
So related to the burnout, what do you all do, or what did you all do for your support structure while on campus? How did you meet other people, and whatever ways that may have taken, whatever forms that may have taken? Yeah. I know you have friends. How'd you get friends?
Say find people who have common interests with you. There are a lot of clubs in UTD. You can search them up. I'll try to find the link and put it down. But whatever you're interested in taekwondo, you're interested in knitting, you can find a community of people that you have something in common with. And obviously in class, you can just start small talking. What is happening today? This professor is annoying, this professor is amazing. Any spark up a conversation, and then you can have a lot of, even friends from class and stuff like that. So just find, like, this is how I would make friends.
Yeah, all of us took Dr. Porter's class, so that's one thing we kind of talked about. But yes, I agree with Soyla. In your class, you having maybe if you've made some friends, you guys can have some sort of, you can make study groups. That's when we can make friends to connect with each other. There are a whole bunch of clubs and organizations that UTD has, whether you like karate, which there's Taekwondo club. If you like learning languages, there are a bunch of languages clubs. Whether you want to go to the gym, I'm sure you can find friends at the gym. I would know, I never went to the gym, so But yes, definitely finding your bubble in terms of finding the people that you are comfortable with is an important thing. Finding a support structure, whether it's a group of classmates, whether it's a alumni that you shared experiences with, whether it's a professor in terms of learning from them, whether in connecting with them through research labs or office hours. Those are definitely a big thing to learn during your years in college.
Did you all find that you had groups of students that you went through classes with, or did it usually change up a lot?
I think I've had like 5 classes with Roshni, I think, at least. And I had like 3 times as many with Steven, but that was kind of intentional. So, because if you have, especially when you're upperclassmen, the classes are small. So if you have like 1 or 2 classes with someone, you'll end up having like every class because it like narrows down the options, like, or whatever, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, yes and no. At the start of the years, your first 2 years-ish, there's going to be a bunch of people. Your chemistry, your math courses, there's going to be a bunch of people. And then, just like how Joseph said, throughout the years, so mainly during your senior year, you'll have a more close-knit group of maybe like 10 people for some courses. But again, it just depends on the courses that you take and the pathway you take. In biomedical engineering, you can take the pre-health, which is the more medical side, or you can go into the regular pathway of just taking majority of engineering and math courses. If you go to the medical pathway, you'll take more medical courses, that go beyond like anatomy. You'll probably take more biology and biochemistry courses, genetics. But your close-knit of friends, I guess it just depends on what pathway you take. Generally, for biomedical engineering, for the main courses that we have to take that's on our pathway, you could see a lot of people that are in the same courses. Again, Joseph was definitely in a lot of my courses. Soyla and Neha, I definitely think they were more in my later on courses during senior and junior year.
Definitely. And another thing I want to add is whenever you do projects, make sure like that's I think a lot of my friends were from doing projects and doing labs together and that kind of thing. Don't treat your your group mates as just, oh, done project, okay, bye y'all. You're gonna you might be able to see each other in the future, like they were all saying, like later in your semester if it comes to like BMen 1208, I think, or even just chemistry courses or stuff like advanced engineering math, just like those kind of general courses that are needed for the curriculum. But definitely don't burn bridges. Like if you really clicked with someone in your project, please, like you can hang out with them ahead of time. And I will say a couple of my friends that I did make through projects, we got together sometimes and we were like, okay, we both need to take chemistry. Let's try to get into the same course together and that kind of thing. And that way you can also kind of make a close-knit group if you want to. I wouldn't recommend prioritizing that. Of course, if you need something, just try to get into it just because your friend is going into it. But yeah, I will say projects are a really big way to make new friends, learn about just other people in general. It's very, very good way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do want to add another thing. So just besides classmates, in class stuff, as a PA, I was a PA or an RA at the apartments and dorms. And so definitely if you plan on living on campus, again, if anyone has any questions regarding on campus or apartments or anything like that, feel free to reach out. I worked in the housing for 2 years, so if you have any questions, please let me know. But being friends with your roommates, as you all know, that if you do live on campus or live away from home, you will most likely have roommates. Definitely try to see if you can get along with them. Try to see if, especially on the on-campus housings, there are events that WPAs make, whether it's painting events, whether it's like an escape room event. That's a great way to find people that you would like to know, or because especially during your first year, everyone does not know anyone, and they're more willing to reach out and try to meet people. So definitely take advantage of the events that are happening in the housing, in the dorms or in the apartments, and the events that happen at UTD. There's a whole bunch of events that like comedy shows or just other painting events or any clay events or bullet journaling events. Those are also lots of good ways to meet people and also find a new hobby that you would like to do.
Excellent. So switching directions a little bit, because I've got a lot of things I want to cover. We have more time, need more time. So career prep, when did you start thinking about starting to set yourselves up for your careers or for your next step after graduation? And what are some of the like basic things that you've done? We can't go into a lot of detail because we don't have a lot of time, but what have you done towards that, or did you do towards that?
One thing I wish I did earlier was network. Network. You just go on LinkedIn, find people who work, see if you're even interested in the industry. You know what I mean? See if you're even interested in becoming a systems engineer or a mechanical engineer or a clinical engineer. See, it's because when we get into biomedical engineering, we only think, oh, biomedical engineer. I want to become a biomedical engineer, but actually you can do a lot with more than that. With like your bioengineering degree, there's a lot of outlets open for you. So just network. Your professors, the students around you, LinkedIn, know your resources again.
Yeah, definitely for me, I wish I networked earlier, and I also wish that I can make excuses for like COVID. I can make excuses for just because like I just wasn't home. I just wasn't at school or anything like that. But I wish I also started looking for internships and just jobs earlier, as well as research. I was only able to I asked around for research positions only until later on during my years in college. I only networked until later on in my years of college. I definitely recommend for all those that are transferring in the first years to start early in terms of networking. Again, networking, going to career fairs, going to panelists at events, going on Handshake, and just looking up all the events that are going on. Again, networking in terms of going onto LinkedIn, just like Hasuela said, and talking with the career counselors about what pathways you can do. They will also give you resources of taking online surveys to see what you're interested in. Maybe that can help narrow down some things in the field that you are in.
Definitely, that's all extremely helpful. I also want to say, along with what Roshni said, the Career Center is extremely helpful. I actually did a mock interview today with the Career Center, and the feedback I got was amazing. Like, I thought I rambled, but she really took the time to explain, like, you don't really ramble, but this is what you do instead. And her feedback, her name was Megan Todora, but her feedback was so specific. It was so like it's like she's a fortune teller. It was amazing. Because of that, I highly recommend the Career Center. I couldn't recommend them enough. But I also do want to recommend Dr. Porter with BMES. Gives a bunch of events throughout the semester. Definitely take advantage of those. He gives events when it comes to resume building, LinkedIn. That's like his motto is LinkedIn. And again, the career center, I mean, not the career center, the career fair that is happening in September, take advantage of that. That is where you're going to be able to network a lot, like we have been mentioning previously. Because networking definitely is like one of the biggest things that you need to do. So along with that, make a LinkedIn so you can network, right? Um, and then also you can talk to your professors. Your professors are also very good tools when it comes to getting to know other people as well. So network, 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 do LinkedIn, and take advantage of the resources you have on campus. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely agreeing with all this. I would say as for like career stuff, career prep, like explore things, be scrappy, and just do stuff that you love. Don't just do it for resume, but that's how I would kind of summarize some of that. Any experience that you have is in like a field is like gold. Like experience is gold on any job, any program, anything. Overcoming challenges, also gold. So like just like don't be afraid to like work hard on a challenge and stuff and like write it down for an interview or something. Um, and just like being really willing to learn and like willing to work on a team is like silver. So like if you can't get experience in something, just see what you can get experience in, but be really willing to like just throw yourself at something and people will love that. They'll want to hire you. They'll want to like yeah, hire you, I guess. I don't really know what else. But like that is like the best thing you can do, especially at this stage. You're freshmen, like most freshmen try to get internships, but like most of them do not get internships. And like it's like, okay, just like do another job, do something, do research, like do what you can. And that's like the best you can really ask for. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all. So again, changing topics a little bit. We've been telling the students, we've told the first years coming in and the transfers that this is really their time to take ownership of their academic career, that they are now really responsible for their learning. Um, when you've hit points, when you've had a hard time catching on to something in a class or picking up on something or just struggling with a topic, what are some things that you've done to get past those sticking points? What are some of the
I'm
resources that you found? Sorry, go ahead.
sorry. I will say at the bottom floor of McDermott Library, they have the Student Success Center, I think that's what it's called. Um, that helped me a lot when it came to like advanced engineering math, calculus 2, all the maths actually, they help a lot when it comes to that. I think they also do like chemistry and physics, just all of your cores, they will definitely be like very helpful when it comes to tutoring you. You can come with them with a homework question. They'll help you solve it. They'll have like whiteboards in there so you can also ask like different questions and that kind of thing. Um, and so I was in there so much. Like I wish I could tip them or something. Like they were very vital in my education.
I also attest to the Student Success Center. I was there every day for an average of 6 hours. My goodness. But yeah, please don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's tutoring, whether it's the professors, whether it's your TAs in your teaching assistants, because if you need help, definitely help yourself. Find resources to help yourself.
Yeah, talk to your professors, like that helps. They're always willing to help you pretty much. Especially Dr. Porter most of the time. But if you like look at something in a different way, you know, that always helps. So like maybe it's watching a video, like a lot of times it's just taking a break. Like you're hitting your head against a wall on a problem and you're like, I just need to like breathe, and then you work on something else and you come back and it's like, oh, it was just that one semicolon at the end of that line that I spent 3 hours on. So yeah, that's what I would say, I guess.
I agree with everyone. On top of that, check the syllabus. When is my professor's office hours? Um, Also changing the technique of your studying. You know, if this doesn't work for you, again, like Joseph said, perhaps watching a video on YouTube would help you better. Perhaps shifting focus or learning it in a different way would help you understand it better. You know, so just keep an open mind to that.
Awesome. I see that we're like at 8:30, but I have two more questions. So if any of you need to go, I completely understand. If you can hang around for those two more questions, fantastic. Same with anybody who's watching. I think they'll be worth it. So we'll see. Any hidden gems on campus that you just recommend, or usually you think are just kind of underutilized, underserved, or just awesome places to study, or anything like that? Just hidden gems that you would suggest.
So my fiance would probably hate me for this one because I always am like, there's a spot on campus I really like and I'm at all the time. And it's like if you're at the library and the plinth is like on your left and you turn right and go towards the parking lot and you just walk straight until you hit a bridge, there's like a nice little picnic area and there's always a bunch of turtles in the water, and she does not care for turtles, but I really like turtles. There's like 2 or 3 big snapping turtles and like a soft shell turtle sometimes, and it's really nice. So I know maybe that's not what you meant by that question, but that is how I took it. So
That is an awesome place. I like to go for walks around campus and discover places because it can be relaxing after, when you kind of get crazy. And that, I know that place. That's a good place.
Yeah. Also in that area, I believe. Oh, I'm so sorry. Definitely, there is a pathway near. If you go beyond if you're in the Plinth area, the libraries are there. The library's in front of you. If you go through the walkway and just follow the path, there's also a wildflower garden area, and that's where there's also a beekeeping area. There's a club that takes care of bees, and that place I found out only during senior year, and I still really like that place. I wish I found that place earlier because that's a really calming place. Also, behind the Alumni Center, next to the parking lot area, there's actually a gazebo, and it's near, it's like a nice bridge, and there's a gazebo, and then there's a bench. It's really pretty. It's a nice place to take senior pictures, which I wish I did. But yes, definitely.
We do have a beekeeping group on campus, and they make honey that you can buy, which is pretty cool.
I recommend the makerspace. That's an far, but it's nice. And they have 3D printing machines. They have, all the engineering stuff. They have like ammeters if you want to go in for testing, or just to hang out. There's a nice lounge area. There's some arcade games. It's very hidden. Nobody knows about it, and they don't want people to know about it. But it's open to all students. It's super fun.
Is that it's up in Spin? Is that right? The Synergy
in Spin,
Park
yeah.
North?
It's the makerspace for the second floor.
Okay, that's been here where Dr. Polk was talking about. So look that one up. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add, so UTD has a lot of different areas just where you can sit down and study, but because of the whole I guess the amount of people that are on UTD's campus constantly, usually a lot of those places are full. What I've found that's helped me a lot was because when I've studied, of course, I need my laptop. I always need a charger to charge my laptop. Sometimes I'll go to the computer labs instead of to some of the study areas, and those places are generally pretty quiet, and I can charge my laptop while studying. And I feel like that's helped me a lot when it comes to just finding study places on campus, because again, with how big UTD's gotten, it's kind of hard now to find a place to just sit down and just do your work, right?
Good. So I'm not going to count this as an extra question because it's still piggybacking. Good places to eat or get coffee on campus. Mostly eat. Or nearby campus.
Taco Bell, 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven have really good edible cookie dough. I love that.
Good places. Good places.
Good.
Hey, 7-Eleven's pretty good too.
We do have an Einstein and Bros. What's it called? Yeah, Einstein and Bros. Amazing bagels. Yeah, and the Taco Bell.
The Taco Bell is very popular for us college students for sure. If you're a boba fan like me, yeah, definitely Ding Tea on Campo. Yep. And then if you if you like Starbucks, but maybe better Starbucks and not as pricey, Dutch Bros is also a good option. It is a little bit farther from campus though.
There's another one I want to add to that is also a little bit farther off campus. Fat Straws. Their mochi donuts are pretty good. Mochi donuts are pretty good.
Mochi donuts.
Nobody ever says halal. I like the place just north of campus, Chopped. Right, it's a little bit pricier, but they have really good food for being near campus.
Yeah, that place is good. Definitely.
All right. So I will actually take it to the last thing. Do you have any last thoughts or last bits of advice or just anything that you want to wrap up with that just kind of really pressing and important that you want to get out?
I'd say while it is good to start getting your bearings, start just talking to people, getting your professional life on track right now, don't stress, right? You're gonna be here for like, although again, 4 years, it's gonna seem like a lot. It's not, it's gonna go by really fast, but take the time to also enjoy college. It's supposed to be a time where you have fun. You have fun with your friends and stuff like that. So definitely take some of that into consideration. BMES will have some social events. We have games and stuff at sometimes. You can go to those and network and just talk to people. But yeah, have fun in college. Don't be like very study-y or very work, like you have a good balance and chill.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like, fun is great. Definitely have fun. But don't make it your life. Don't make studying your life. There are gonna be times when you're gonna feel like studying is your life or senior design is your life. But like it's okay. And like there are gonna be times when you're really, really challenged. Maybe challenged a lot. I know between like COVID and like a bunch of different things and like all that, college was really challenging for me. But in a good way that helped me to grow. So like that's okay. Like just like the best thing you could do is just have a good mindset and just approach it head on. Um, and again, I know I said it, but like you're gonna forget it your first year because like freshman classes are not that bad, but like set up good study habits. Don't do like the useless, like don't reread the text 4 times and highlight. That doesn't like reading the text is good, but like effective studying, effective. And if you like don't let yourself get behind, you know. When you're a sophomore or junior, especially like you'll be okay if you do, but like you'll be a lot happier if you don't. So like stay on top of it.
Yep, what they said for sure. Again, make sure you have your own set of morals that you have. Make sure you have your own discipline, or you create a strong discipline system. Find your safe space, safe people. Find good study habits that work for you. Make sure you also prioritize yourself. Make sure that you have your own self-care, whether it's just art, a hobby, whether it's whatever makes you happy and calm down. Make sure you have that as well. Learn how to prioritize, learn how to manage your time. You'll learn a lot of life skills in college. You'll have to, and definitely improve them throughout your 4 years or 4+ years or 3 years or however long you're in college, and after that as well, whether you do grad school, whether you go to med school, whether you go to industry, and above all else, please believe in yourself. Don't compare yourself, or at least try not to compare yourself, although that is easy to do. You got this. Seriously, you guys got this.
Awesome. So Hila, did you want to add anything? Lose. Okay.
Yes. So sorry. I'm just getting ready to go to a movie right now. Just move with integrity, be honest, have fun, make new friends, make the best out of it. Like also the professor said, there's a lot of resources on campus. Use the resources. Know your resources. But yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you, everyone. We do like to have fun. Sahila, thank you. Go to your movie. Joseph, thank you for joining us. I know that you're busy studying with med school and everything, so this is valuable time. Really appreciate it. It's valuable time for everyone. Don't get me wrong. But thank you, everyone. Roshni Nihal, it's fantastic. It's just fun getting back with you all. So, all right, we'll wrap it up there. Oh, I have a thing. Hang on. Dang it. Because we have the next one that we're doing too. So sorry, almost done. Okay. I lost it. They will tell you it's not an event that I run unless I have technical issues. So again, August 9th, this is part of the series. We will talk next about are we in the right degree? What is biomedical engineering? So we'll talk about what is actually biomedical engineering, what do we do? And what kind of jobs can you get with biomedical engineering? So there's some career exploration with that one. Don't forget on the 18th, which is that Friday before class, we have the Bioengineering Academic Boot Camp. That is a 10 to 4 event. It's in live and in person, where we will cover a lot of different things. And it'll also be a great place to meet your fellow incoming students. Then just a couple other days to note, the career fair that we mentioned on September 22nd and the family day on October 21st. If you want to go ahead and register for the boot camp, you can do that via that QR code. I'm going to wait like 2 seconds before I go on to the next slide because it has another QR code. Okay. And that's it that we have for today. So if you have a few seconds, if you could give us a little bit of feedback, how this went, anything that we can do to improve, anything like that, we'd appreciate it. You can just follow this QR code. It's a fairly short survey. But that is all we have for tonight. So thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Have a great night. Good
Bye,
seeing you
Dr.
all again.
Porter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Porter. Nice seeing you guys.